I'm going to show you some more charity shop CDs. First one is the Kinks by the Kinks. That's their debut album with a lot of bonus tracks on it. That was £1. Anthology 2 by the Beatles. It's a double album. £2 for 2 discs. This is from 1996. Amazing to think it's already over 20 years old. Miles Davis, ESP. This is one I'd actually been looking for, from 1965. Wayne Shorter on tenor sax, Herbie Hancock on piano. A bit of a classic album. In the same shop, Ornette Coleman, Skies of America. This is quite an interesting album in that he recorded it with the London Symphony Orchestra, who play throughout. In fact, he's hardly on it. So it's a sort of symphonic jazz record, and very interesting stuff. Kate and Anna McGarrigle, French record. Originally released with the French title and then re-released as French record. It's sort of French-Canadian folk with lovely voices. Recently was obsessed with Steel Eye Span and played them every day for a long time. This was so I was very pleased to find this in a charity shop. It's a solo album by Maddie Pryor, £1. It's called Year. It's a sort of concept album about the seasons. So it starts with a suite of songs about spring, summer, autumn, winter, then moves on to some other tracks. Also kind of folky is Gorky's Zygotic Monkey, The Blue Trees. This is beautiful Welsh alternative folk psychedelia. I'm not sure what you would describe it as. This is a mini album, kind of half length, styled as a record. Johnny Cash, American. This is the first of his Rick Rubin produced records, where he took a lot of old songs and stripped them back. So you get Bird on a Wire by Leonard Cohen and traditional songs done in a very sort of simple but profound way. Necco Case and Blacklisted. So another country singer with a particularly good voice. Used to hear her a lot on John Peel, and I can understand why he raved about her. Staying with country, Lucinda Williams and West. Another great voice, a kind of a wilder, more raggedy voice. In a completely different vein, Carter, The Unstoppable Sex Machine, 1992, the Love album, with the European flag there. So they're sort of political, it's full of puns and wordplay, done with guitars and drum machines. Quite dated, but in an interesting sort of way. Pulp, His and Hers. This was the album that probably propelled them to fame. Turned them into, from a kind of indie band into a pop group, and some great stuff on there. Do You Remember the First Time and Acrylic Afternoons. Slow Dive, Pygmalion. So I think this was their third album. It's the last album they did before they broke up, and it's different from their so-called shoegazing records, and it is much more ambient, experimental electronic music. Very interesting. They would, of course, reform later. And then I'd got that lot and I was ready to make this video, and then I went to found a new charity shop and this week, and all the CDs were 50p, and I got a lot of stuff, so I'll quickly whiz through what I bought there. The Beatles, Revolver, classic album of course. Paul McCartney, Back in the World, it's a live album, a double live record, 36 tracks, it says here, 36 classic McCartney and Beatles songs live, 32-page collector's booklet. What else? The Who, Tommy, another classic. What can you say about that? The classic rock opera about a deaf, dumb and blind kid. Simon and Garfunkel, Greatest Hits. I don't normally buy Greatest Hits, but this is one of those that's sort of turned into a classic album in its own right. And I think a little known fact that 4 of the songs here are actually live tracks that you can't get elsewhere, so makes it worth having even if you've got the albums. Donna Summer, Love Trilogy. Don't really have much Donna Summer. And then also Once Upon a Time, which is a sort of disco concept album along the theme of Cinderella. Over 70 minutes of music, it says there. Local Hero by Mark Knopfler. One of my favourite films of all time is Bill Forsyth's film Local Hero. This is the soundtrack, with the famous song Going Home and lots of variations on that tune. Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. 30 million copies of this were sold, and here's one of them. Marillion, Misplaced Childhood. So they were a sort of prog band who suddenly became pop stars. Had the hits Kaylee and Lavender. It actually holds up surprisingly well. The Bangles and everything. And my brother used to laugh at me for liking the Bangles. In fact, it turns out I've already got this one, so I bought it for 50p, but I already had it. Tears for Fears, Seeds of Love. Not entirely sure why I got this one. It's not really my kind of thing, but I'll give it a listen, see what I think. Booker T and the MGs, In the Christmas Spirit. So that's the instrumental versions of Christmas music. That's original album from 1966. And finally, a double CD anthology by Prince, which was released shortly after his death in 2016, Prince Ultimate. Again, a compilation that's got other stuff on it, so worth having. It's got sort of remixes and different edits and things like that. So for 50p, all of that material seemed well worthwhile. So that's it, my recent charity shop finds.